Hello, I'm so honored to have my guest, Krystal Hille with the K, because she's really the key for her business. Let me introduce Krystal. Krystal Hille is the creator of the Author-Archetype Blueprints, CEO of the Hill House Publishing. She is also a multidimensional visibility visionary, multiple best-selling author, and speaker. With her Author-Archetype System, she guides purposepreneurs, that means the entrepreneur has a purpose, to unleash, write, and publish their story and expertise in their solo books or an anthology. This process enables them to elevate their authority, connect with the more soul clients, and make a global impact. Her mission is to awaken and empower humanity and elevate consciousness on the planet. Wow, I have many alignment with the description.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for this conversation and seeing what I can discover and how my story can really bring some value to your audience as well.
So, Krystal, the first thing I'm very curious from your bio, I know you're fascinated about writing and you achieve a lot with the English language. So I want to know, did you read a lot of books as a kid, or you just naturally like to speak, share, and write?
It's a great question. I actually did read a lot of books because I don't know if it's a fun fact, but one fact about my childhood is that I grew up without a TV, which was a blessing and a curse. It was a curse in that, I didn't know about social culture and got bullied for it at school. But it was a blessing in that, yes, I did read a lot. I read at least a book a week when I grew up. And what I loved, and it became a passion of mine. I've always been an introvert and a deep thinker, which comes from my, Scorpio. And I'm sure there's some more things in the gene keys and human design around that. But I knew I was here to help people. And I have always had this ability to observe accurately and why do people do what they do? What makes humans tick? As a child, I was actually the perfect diplomat. But I was also very afraid that if ever anybody asked me a question about what I thought, I didn't have my own opinion, but I always was very good at understanding everybody else's opinion and helping people understand each other. So my passion for writing or for reading and exploring different people's identities, motivations, perspectives, and environments, coupled with this deep need or a desire for understanding humans and helping them, then became a profession. In my 20s, I became a theater director. I studied English literature and theater studies and then brought human dramas alive on stage and human motivations to then in my 30s become a life coach and NLP practitioner to help people in that way, having kind of studied it in fiction. That has all helped me really become an expert at human behavior and have a deeper understanding. And then again, 3 years ago, I feel like I went full circle in that I brought back this love for literature, this love for writing and for storytelling by helping entrepreneurs now to share their own stories in writing. There's so much to it. There's so many reasons why I do it. There's the empowerment of that. When we write a story, we become empowered. And of course, also to increase visibility and expert status and all those kind of 3D things. But really for me, what lights my fire is that I can help people embody their highest potential in a deeper way.
What a beautiful go back to the beginning. You just go all the way to collect information, to polish your skills, but then you still align with your soul purpose. You enjoy writing, enjoy reading, and put all those human parts into that equation.
It's so true. It's almost like I stacked all the skills, and now I've got this full bundle of very unique skill set that I'm bringing to publishing. Yeah.
Well, I haven't mentioned that Krystal actually have 8 of the international best-selling books. So if you really want to know publishing and how to shine through your message, Krystal definitely know the way. Krystal with the K, she got the keys. What you mentioned about when you're young, you maybe don't have a lot of opinions, but that actually resonates with your human design chart. You have a very unique open-minded head and agenda. So in the human design, got 9 different energy centers. Each one has different purpose, but they all link together. It's not say, okay, your head is not communicate with your root. They all communicated through the energetic connection. For people like you with very open head and agenda, that means you really experience from somebody's thoughts or some idea, someone put it out there, have a big question mark. You would get that energy to come to your awareness. And I think for little kids might be a little bit confusing. It's like all the information coming in, but through your maturation and also experience more, I believe that becomes your inspiration.
Yes, so I've always seen myself as a creator, and so that I definitely identify with that. And so sometimes it was really interesting. I was thinking, I need a lead gen. Like it came from this really 3-dimensional practical place where I said, I really need a really good lead gen. Maybe I should create a quiz, because quizzes are a really great way. Everybody loves to know about themselves. And then I'm like, okay, so how do I create the quiz? And that's when I had this question. That's when the download started to come. And so that's how the author archetypes were created, because I was looking for a way in which I could use a well-established ancient system and put things into it. So I came up with, well, maybe I'll use initially I thought archetypes and thought, no, that's too much. And then I came up with the elements. I thought, well, the 4 elements are perfect for personality profiling as well. And each one has a strength and a weakness. So these author archetypes now are based on the 4 elements. And what I was doing to fine tune them and to download the information was I set myself a timer for 20 minutes, and then I would just start writing as fast as I could and see what would come. And that was the beginning of this system. So yes, there is definitely ways in which that has happened.
Wow. Yeah. I like archetype. Actually, Gene Keys is 64 different archetypes. For archetypes, you could not define one type because maybe you have 50% fire, 20% water, and it changed too. When we get different situations, we interact with other people, and the energy is always just not the same. But for author, like creators, they can flow with that differences and create, all different type of storyline and the imaginations. And I mean, this is still colorful because that every author, once they let go that identity, they can melt in to be whatever they want to do. Because then you kind of start flowing and that creativity coming down. That is really unique way, not like a formula.
Yeah, exactly. I love what you said, that we are everything, right? Because ultimately we are whole, and we are everything. If we're looking at it, we are the oneness. So we have the ability to tap into all the different archetypes at different times. And if we have a system or a concept or a framework like the Gene Keys or these author archetypes that I've created, we are more empowered to make that choice. We all have a default or something that is there, but then we can choose to tap into something else. So for example, in the planning phase of any book, I always help my authors activate their earthy empress, like that earth element that is solid and grounded, that doesn't get overwhelmed. Like we need the airy wizard with all the ideas in the brainstorming, but initially we just need to create a solid structure. And a lot of people that come to me are like the airy wizard. They are overwhelmed with too many ideas. And so I activate the empress in them so that they can clearly see what is my core message. How is the outline, and they keep coming back to the basics, and it just helps them not to get overwhelmed and carried away by too many ideas, which is what we need eventually when we want to brainstorm the content. We use the airy wizard to brainstorm everything, and then we use the earthy empress again to kind of structure it and order it and put it into place. And then of course there's the fiery, I call it the fiery charismatic. That's the storyteller. That's the one that captures our imagination. They're charismatic. They can really draw us in with a good story. And then the watery mystic is that element that brings depth, that asks deep questions, that brings in the emotions, that creates the connection to the heart of the reader. And so activating all of those will really create a really engaging piece of writing that connects.
I love this idea. You are there to have this grounded earth energy. It's like It goes through this flow, but it all has elements and importance, not just randomly creativity, because again, that energy need to be guided. My curiosity lead me through gene keys because, gene keys talk about genetics, the portals for us to unlock some secrets within ourselves. Gene keys to me is like a tool. So if I reflect what happened to my 20s, 30s, and 40, I'm 57 now, and each 10 years from the lines, they have a 6-line histogram, then I start to see the patterns. And then I can start, do I need to still continue with that pattern? Or, I can maybe just ditch that pattern and see what happened. And it start to feel like I'm back to science again. But this time, the science is no boundary. When we flow with our genes, our real technology within, then the creativity is all coming up. Using the author view, right? The creativity and the elements. Think about DNA, well, it's a basic molecular biology, is 4 bases. That actually is 4 elements. So everything has a genetic, like bacterial, viruses, they are all the base. And so the 3 bases among the 4, they will create 1 amino acid, and that is the backbone for the protein. So when we do 3 from the 4, it's 64. In our gene keys and human design, 64. So gene keys really, it's the ancient wisdom about the genetics and the elements, and now become binary, the computer system, but it's still based on the 4. And human design is too. You got 4 type of energy type. You got generator, projector, reflector, and manifestor. They all align with that 4 elements.
Every 7 years, we go into a different chakra in the body. So, it would be 49. That's the significant one, for example, that moves us. Actually, yeah, it is 7. It's a crown chakra that gets activated at age 49. And so it's fascinating. I wonder if these systems even intertwine. So between the ages of 0 to 7, it's all about the base chakra maturation and the about safety and security. And we're depending on our parents to help us, create that. And we're creating a strong, solid foundation for safety, or the lack thereof in many cases, unfortunately.
Yes.
And so then in sacral chakra in 7 to 14 is about our relationships to people, community, and then power center is in the teenage years, the maturation of that. So that's a really interesting system as well. It would be fascinating to see how that correlates with the gene keys and the human design as well.
Yeah. Well, you basically just describe one of the sequence called Venus sequence. That is the 3 cycle of the 7 years, totally 21 years of the imprinting process. We start from the 1 single cell, right? So the 1 single cell actually encoded every cells. So think about every time they divide, become the new daughter cells, and they carry on with the memories from the mother cells. They'll call memory, but it's also just energy imprinting. Talk about the ancestral healing, right? We can go up to 14 generations because everything just carry down the emotions and stuff. You mentioned about 7 years. It's really the cycle of the stem cells. So every 7 years, all our body, all the single cells is totally different. They are the generation next. So when you have different cells, because that 7 years, you can have a new relationship, you can maybe change your diets, maybe you move to different country, right? Or you become a parent. So every the major events will create imprinting in the DNA. Then the new daughter cell will carry that memory and also influence our hormone, right? So it's connected. Energy is everything, but they create a biology. And we experience the biology, think that that's our stories. Does that make sense?
I like that. We experience biology thinking it's our story. Yes, that's so true.
So I mentioned Venus sequence, the relationship with ourselves and connection, spirituality around the environment. Then the other 2 sequence on the gene key system, the first one is called activation sequence. Then the third one is that one we're going to share more about. It's called Pearl sequence. That sequence is the last among the three. Activation first, Venus, then Pearl. So the Pearl sequence is you learn the skill from doing, knowing your being. Then you'll go back to your Venus and ditch some patterns you don't want and choose something you want to continue, right? It's always by choice. Then you'll be connected to the Pearl. So Pearl sequence is more like after you cleaning and tune up. That's my program I call like a tune up and clean up. Once you tune out and clean out, you can speak up. You already ditch all this conditioning or the trap emotions or the story you tell yourself. This is all clean up. Then you start to speak up. You just become yourself. So for you, if I can, would love to share your Pearl
Yeah,
sequence.
absolutely.
Is that
I'd be
okay?
happy for you to. Yes.
Yeah. So for the first key, it's kind of extended from the Venus sequence. But now you go into this turning points, like your vocation, just like you say, PurposePreneur, right? They are really empowered by something within. They want to do something. So the vocation is the one you start to own your business, not to work for others, right? So for your key is number 54. So 54, you can see that different frequency is from greed, the low vibe. In nature, there is no right or wrong. It's just the vibration. So the low vibe greed is when you try to grow your business, you want to get there soon or fast, right? Because you got so passionate about what you want to do. So you want to have power, you want control. Your vocation is really just live through your dream and make it become true. And you will start to get more of the aspiration. Because you greed, you want to move ahead, but aspiration is more like calm you down, you grounded. You're not going everywhere. So you grounded. Then you finally, the highest expression is ascension. Ascension is a pure thing, all this impurity is gone. Right? You're very just like a light. Then the line for the spear is number 6. So they all have different lines associated with the key in gene key system. So the 6 on the vocation is the philanthropy, which means you really passionate about people grow, transform, because you are there to make that impact other than to just to serve only. But your number 6 is on the top of the roof. So you see this person need that, but you don't give that to them. That's a charity. But the philanthropy is more like, I have the system to let you become power yourself. Philanthropy is just holding the space. So your vocation, your business, I think it's pretty aligned with what you do right now.
Yeah.
That's your service. Then it can become your personal brand later on. But then the next thing you do is initiate, start build your culture. So your culture key is 41 and the line is 2. 41 is the initiative for the cosmic key, but the 41 in genetic is also star codon. So 41 for you is like initiative, and that's your culture. And the best relationship with your client is a partnership. So you are forming a partnership. The different line, the number 1 is individual. Number 2 is partnership, which you are. 3 is the units, 3 to 4 people. Then you go 4 become network. 5 is society. And 6 is a system. Your culture is point 2. So that means you, as a philanthropy, but you form a partnership with your client. So they can start to put their pieces together.
Yeah, it sounds like then the way to really fulfill my potential is in one-on-one clients that I form a partnership with, where I do like work alongside with them. And this is what I love. I mean, I love doing that, right? One of the things I love doing is working with a client one-on-one, helping them tease out their story, reflecting it back to them, activating them in a way that inspires them to go deeper. And so that's one of my zones of genius, really, that I've identified to really when I talk to them, because I can see so much, because I've studied human behavior, ever since I was a child and reading books, right?
Yes.
It is something that I'm innately gifted in. And as you said, it just comes through. I can just see what somebody needs and what needs to go into a book or what story. And so that feels really aligned. And so it means that the number 6 of creating a system or creating an online course where they can just do it themselves is something I might be able to do, but it's not really fully aligned with my purpose.
Do it, but you will make a lot of efforts to make it happen. Then you maybe don't have fun. We can still do it because we can choose, right? And we are free will to choose. But then is that really let us feel fulfilled? So if we really align with what we do, we shouldn't feel any burden. We feel like flowing like a water. Like get it done, because that's our genius.
Yeah, and it gives me a lot of energy when I work one-on-one with someone. So it makes total sense. Yes.
And so when you have this growth and services, so services is from your culture to your personal brand. Then your growth is because you declare your business, you want to be a philanthropist or some kind of role to help people transform. Then you begin to have this quantum energy on the top that used to be the life work for activation sequence, but that becoming personal brand in the Pearl sequence. So personal branding is 45 and the line is 5. 45. Think about you just go into a big forest. It's got a lot of tree in there. It's all green and everything's thriving, right? That is the 45 energy in a way. Because you are maybe the biggest tree there yourself. So you start to maybe a little bit bossy. So your low vibe become like a dominance. So you need to do this, to do that. Because number 5 line, maybe from human design, is a fixer. It's a practical solutions provider. So people will automatically come to you, Krystal, help me with this, Krystal, the answer. You have this energy, people just drawn to you, you are the fixer. So maybe in the younger age, you feel threatened, pressure, because everybody thinks you know the answer. Right? But everybody should have their own answer. Not to come in to get it. But for you with that energy, number 5 and 45, you finally can shift it to be synergy. Everybody has role and functions, but you still kind of oversee the whole structure. So you're not dominant, but you kind of delegate. Then you also something they need, not to be fixing everything. So that's your personal branding. When you flow with all the other keys, then your pearl, which is in the center, we cannot really do anything with our pearl, because that is the one for us to polish it with our activity, with our business, with our struggle, with anything happen to our life. Then we start to make that irritated sand or rock become a pearl. So your pearl is 19 and the line is number 5. That's actually your power. Your power within is finally will be polished through because you just fulfill roles. So your power can be in the beginning, you might feel like you need to have something first. So the co-dependency is the low vibe, which means that, I need this before I can get that. Your pearl will be shifting from codependency.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. There was a lot of confirmation in there for sure. Yes. And it is very fascinating. It is very fascinating how it is all in there to help guide us. As you said, we can now use that to make choices that are more empowered, because when we have a system like that, I always find it gives so much power to know us in a deeper way so that we can really draw out our strengths in even more powerfully.
Well, for me, it's a self-acceptance. I'm most of the time against myself. Particular generator, you are the manifesting generator, which means do. When things happen fast, like yesterday. So when we have this do energy, sometimes we miss out the process. But then I have learned a lesson to go back to the beginning. The best is just to align and trust ourselves, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm so happy you got a chance to talk to us. And I know you have amazing programs. What's the best way to get hold of you?
So I'm on social media on LinkedIn and Facebook as Krystal Hille, KrystalHille. So Krystal Hille with an E at the end. My website is hillhouse.org. Again, Hille with an E at the end. And yeah, we've got some beautiful courses to help writing a book. And I'm always open to just have a conversation, to seeing of helping people understand and recognize and realize what is the core message that they might put into a book, and how does that book fit into their business plan and their purpose? And if people are interested in figuring out or finding out which author archetype is their dominant one, then that's also on my homepage on my website.
I so appreciate Krystal with the K. Bring all your genius into what you do. You're really the giver with a heart, because you don't give without letting them transform, because everybody has power to do it, but you lead them through the process to express themselves. We do need more people just to be doing their work and align with their energy, because that's the only way we can all evolve, like to raise the consciousness together.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, thank you for summarizing it in such a beautiful way, and for all the work that you're doing, helping people understand themselves better so that they can come into that space of acceptance, and from that place then create in a more aligned way. So I really honor you also for all of the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Krystal. So I will see you around and keep being you and bring more other people's voice out. I appreciate you.
I will. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.